Good day, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, wherever you are in the world. So, this is once again yours truly, Jeff Caceres, also known as Nomad Fury, and we're back once again for another episode of the Nomads podcast. So, our special guest for today is no other than the Chief Executive Officer of Rapid Innovation. So, please welcome to the show, Mr. Jesse Anglen.
Jeff, nice to hang out with you today.
All right. And also, I would like to say hello to all of our subscribers and viewers who are tuning in to our podcast with Jesse Anglen, the CEO of Rapid Innovation. So we will be learning more about their project concept, of course, as you know, they are into blockchain app development and consulting. All right. So Jesse, are we all set?
All set.
All right. So first things first, Jesse. Let's get to know more a bit about you. So Jesse, how did you get introduced into the crypto and blockchain space, and what inspired you and your team in creating and developing Rapid Innovation?
So I'll give you the short version of how I got in, because it's a long story. I've got like the the 30-minute have beers and go over how I got into it story, and then I've got the 5-minute or 3-minute version. But so I've done a lot of different stuff. I've been an entrepreneur for most of my adult life. And in 2009, I had started a real estate company. And then probably 2011, one of my clients, who later became a friend, sat me down for coffee. He was an investor, had been investing into real estate for a while. And he wanted to sell all of his real estate investments and buy this thing called Bitcoin. And I spent the next probably 2-3 hours trying to talk him out of it, because it seemed like he was selling the world's best investment, real estate, to buy the world's biggest scam, is what it looked like to me at the time. Now, granted, I had never read the white paper. I hadn't really taken crypto seriously. I'd heard about it a little bit, just from the circles I ran in. At the end of that conversation, I was not able to convince him to hold on to his real estate. He sold everything he had. He actually quite literally sold everything he had. Like, he sold his bike, his extra clothes. He sold every worldly possession he had. He moved into a shed that he bought and put on his parents' property, and used all of his extra money to buy Bitcoin. That ended up being a really, really good decision, because from 2011 till now, Bitcoin has actually gone up a fair amount in price. And so, like all people that make good decisions, I eventually had went and worked for him. This would have been 2000, maybe late 2014, maybe. That I really got serious about getting out of the real estate game and getting serious about blockchain. So I worked with him for a while. And we did a lot of interesting stuff in the very early days of Ethereum, what I would consider the actual Wild West of crypto, because it's calmed down a lot since then. I mean, there was life was crazy back then. Got to work with some really, really amazing people. He was helping run Bitcoin.com with Roger Ver for a while. And just a lot of the early OGs in the crypto space. And so, fast forward a while, we're building applications through the ICO run up 16-17 in 16 and 17, and then 2018 rolled around, and he started having conversations about getting out of the crypto space and into the AI and machine learning space, which is a hobby of mine. Like, I really enjoy AI and machine learning. It's one of the technologies that I've actually got a dev team that does that, because crypto and AI have an interesting intersection. But he wanted to solely focus on that and drop the focus on blockchain altogether, and that was not necessarily what I wanted to do. And so we parted ways. I did a few random things, a little bit of consulting, tried to just figure out what I wanted to do. And what I finally settled on was that, for me, my passion is really improving people's the user experience of life for human beings. And one of the ways that you can do that is financially. And I saw blockchain as a way to level the playing field and eliminate middleman efficiency in actually a lot of areas, even beyond the efficiencies, like in the banking system or the finance system, but in real estate, in the ownership of assets, and across investing and hedge funds, and it had so much potential. And so I thought of a couple of different app ideas that I could build and try to change the world, but realized if I wanted to make a big impact, the thing that I could do that would actually have the biggest impact on the industry was create a company that was designed from the ground up to help people innovate in the blockchain space. And that was where Rapid Innovation came from, was this idea that we were going to be a Web3 only development company that specialized in helping entrepreneurs bring ideas that were going to, make an impact in whatever their sector was, to the blockchain, or to the, to the ecosystem, and help people make improvements. And so to help people make improvements to how the world worked and the user experience of humanity, basically. And so Rapid Innovation was born. Started with 5 of us. This was been 3 years ago now, 3 years and a month, I think. And so started with 5 of us, and now we sit around 300 people on the team, work with a ton of different clients. And it's been a wild ride.
All right, so at least we get to know more about you and how you get started, in your journey in the crypto and blockchain before you develop, Rapid Innovation together with your team. So thank you so much for that, Jesse. It's great to meet you, by the way. Now, for my next question, what is currently the mission and vision of Rapid Innovation?
So it's actually pretty simple. We want to bring autonomy and freedom to the world through innovation. There's a bunch of different ways that you can go about like bringing autonomy and bringing freedom to the world. But for us, one of the things that made the most sense was blockchain. Eventually, I see Rapid Innovation evolving where there are other verticals inside innovative technology that we add to our stack in order to do that. AI and machine learning being one of them, IoT, AR, VR, things along those lines. But right now, we really want to get solid with the blockchain and distributed ledger technologies, and then begin to add other verticals. But yeah, that's our mission, our vision is to bring autonomy and freedom to the world through innovative technology.
Okay, so at least you've shared to us about the mission and vision that you have for our Rapid Innovation. So Jesse, thank you so much for that. Now let's move on to the next question, which is one of the most important questions that we all need to know, especially those who are tuning into our podcast right now. Okay, so Jesse, could you explain how Rapid Innovation works for clients as you're into blockchain app development and consulting? Like, who are mostly your target markets and their benefits for availing your products and services?
Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward. The idea is to help entrepreneurs. And so our idea was to build a machine that somebody, I'll tell it as a story. Let's say that you hop in the shower and, this morning, and you have one of those brilliant ideas that you believe is going to change the world. But you know nothing about development. You know nothing about how to build a blockchain application. I wanted to build a company where I could take somebody like that, I could plug them into one side of it, and out the other side, you would get a minimum viable product that was production ready that you could then onboard users. And so we're continuing to strive towards making that process as seamless as possible, where we bring people on the consulting and what we call discovery, design, and architecture, where we actually pull the idea out of someone's head, even if they're not technical, in a format that we can then give to developers. Those developers then build it. Then my DevOps team and auditing team goes through and make sure that it's secure. And then we deploy it and we hand it back to the client for marketing and client onboarding and whatever they plan on doing with the application. And so that, in a nutshell, is what we do. If you're looking at our target market, or the people that I would say are the best fit for rapid innovation, it's somebody that has an idea that they believe is going to upgrade the user experience of humanity, whether that be DeFi or NFT or real estate, or, I mean, some of the people that we have, like, what they're building in the blockchain space, there's not even a token. It's just pure utility. Some of the people that we're working with have a token driven utility, platform. Some people are, doing decentralized systems that are fully decentralized. Some people are doing hybrid systems that are partially decentralized for the parts that make sense, partly centralized. And some people are doing fully centralized, like permissioned blockchains that are run inside a coalition of companies and things along those lines. And so it's really just people that recognize that blockchain technology or distributed ledger technology is actually going to create efficiency in some way, the ability to transact with other parties in a trustless way, and upgrade the experience of their customers, upgrade the experience of their company, upgrade the experience of whoever they're trying to reach and bring benefit to people. And a lot of those tend to be like first time, second, third time entrepreneurs. I would say that's been our bread and butter. 8 out of 10 of the clients that we work with probably fit into that category. And then there's the enterprises that are trying to catch up. There's the Office Depots and Walmarts and Boeings and the large companies that realize that if they don't start implementing this technology, they're going to get behind, and if they get behind, they're going to become irrelevant. And so that's a small part of who we work with, is in that enterprise sector for people looking to make an upgrade.
All right, so at least that you've explained to us, Jesse, on how rapid innovation works for clients, like you're into blockchain app development and consulting, like who are mostly your target markets in this space, and of course about their benefits for availing your products and services. So once again, Jesse, thank you so much for that explanation about rapid innovation. Now, this is an interesting question that I have for you right now. So, Jesse, who are your strong competitors in this space, and what makes you guys stand out from the rest?
Yeah, so what's interesting is, like everything that anybody does, there are competitors. But we came to this space with this idea like really early on. And for the most part, as a company that was providing Web3 development services, we were competing against individual freelancers that were providing Web3 development services. That was not completely exclusive. Like Consensus was working with a lot of entrepreneurs. They had the same target market that we had. And I would say that over almost the entire time that we have been in existence, I would have considered them a direct competitor. Although they've actually recently become a partner because they are shifting more towards working with enterprise clients, which we don't specialize in, and wanted to get rid of the clientele that we do specialize in. And so we're working with them as a strategic partner to take on that business. And so I would say they're no longer a competitor. If you do some Googling around, you find some companies that do Web3 development, or they say they do Web3 development, but almost all of them are traditional Web2 companies that are trying to add Web3 development to their stack, but it's not their main proficiency. And as far as companies that are built from the ground up, for the sole purpose of doing Web3 development for other companies, I don't actually know of any large competitors. We still compete with the freelancing market, and we compete with small teams that are spread around the world. But I mean, they're 10, 15 person teams that can take on one project at a time. Whereas we've got, or 2 projects at a time, whereas we've got 300 people. So we've got the ability to take on, much more extensive work. And not only that, because we have access to all the resources that we have, it also allows us to do very specialized work that smaller teams can't do. So As of right now, the competitive landscape is a little bit on the weak side. Now, here's my here's what I anticipate. There are a lot of people moving into the space that want to compete with me, which I'm super excited about because competition breeds innovation and innovation makes everyone's lives better, right? I have to improve my processes and improve my client experience if I'm going to compete with people on my scale. So I'm really looking forward to some good, healthy competition in the space. But up to this point, it's been a little bit sparse. I mean, there's just not a lot of people that compete with us.
All right. So at least have you shared to us about your strong competitors in this space and what makes you guys stand out from the rest. So Jesse, thank you so much for that. And hopefully our subscribers and viewers are tuning into our podcast right now with Jesse Anglen, the CEO of Rapid Innovation. Hope you guys have enjoyed our session here. So let's move on to our next question. This is another interesting one, by the way, Jesse. I know that you have lots of clients lately, but could you share some of your favorite clients, who have used your products and services and why?
Yes, I can. I have to be a little bit careful with this question because what I really should do is I should read through a list of like almost all of my clients so that nobody feels left out. So maybe what I'll do is shift your question into like most notable clients. And people like there are some people that I've really have enjoyed working with because they're influencers in the space. Um, early on, so one of the very first clients that we picked up was actually Sean Owen, who was the CEO of Salt Lending, for another project that he's working on that's actually since been tabled, although hopefully will be picked up again this year. And that was a ton of fun because he was early into the crypto space, right? And so he's been here from the very beginning. A very incredibly brilliant person with amazing ideas, who understands how business works because he has a business mind. I mean, he's been an entrepreneur for a long time. He's run brick and mortar stores. He's run technology companies. Like, just a super fascinating person. And so I would say he probably falls on that list. I had the opportunity to work with the guys at Wall Street Bets. They had done all of their big run up of the game of the AMC, and what was the other? Was it GameStop? I guess. What was the other stock that they ran up? GameStop, right? I think that's what it was. And so after all of that happened, they wanted to build some stuff. That was a ton of fun. Like, those guys are crazy. Like, their culture and like how they just how they handle themselves and how they operate as a team of people that I just hadn't ever worked with anyone like that before, and it was a ton of fun. Had the opportunity to work with the Vaynerchuk's building out some NFT platforms, and that was a blast. I mean, those guys have a mind for business like no one I've ever met. Just wildly intelligent, really understand what they're doing and how they're going about doing it. And also just like watching how they operate and the things that they do has gave me ideas for improvement on how I can change ways that I operate and how I do things, and just me as a leader even. So I would say they were a pretty notable client. And then I've got all the individual projects that kind of fall outside those categories. I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of right now, but I would say those are the most notable. Actually, I probably shouldn't leave out Eric Voorhees. Like, he was an awesome guy to work with. Once again, just one of those guys who's like super crazy intelligent, really understands what he's doing in the space. Love the way that his mind works. So yeah, I mean, I think I'll end the list there, but the truth is we could spend an hour and I could go over like each individual project, and there's just a lot of people doing a lot of really amazing stuff. Some of them more in the incognito mode because they have other national brands that they're running. I've got 2 clients right now that have large national brands that they're running in the US. And so they're running some crypto projects on the side in a more incognito mode, and that's kind of fun to see people that have a traditional mind for business that is staggering, getting into the space because they see the opportunity and they see what you can actually do with blockchain technology. I would say it's probably one of my favorite parts of doing this is the people that I meet and what they're bringing into the blockchain space.
All right, so at least that you shared to us about some of the notable clients that you have for a rapid innovation. So, Jesse, thank you so much for that. All right, so let's move on to our next question. Another interesting one, by the way. So, Jesse, could you share some of the achievements that you guys have from the beginning until now, especially the partners that you have on board?
Yeah. So partnerships is something we actually have I'll start with that one and then I'll go backwards. Partnerships have been something that we've just started focusing on this year. And so we recently partnered with Consensus as a development partner of theirs, and are going to start helping some of their clients build out stuff. And so that's awesome. And we've been using the Consensus tools for a long time in development, because when you're doing Ethereum development, I mean it's kind of the standard for that. I mean, I guess there are some other things out there, but a lot of clients prefer that we use the Consensus tools because they're really well thought out and well built. So that partnership made sense. We are in actually, can I even talk about that one? I'm not sure if it's official yet. Well, I think I might have just almost said something I wasn't allowed to say. We've got some other big partnerships in the works with some large layer ones and layer two solutions, where we're going to start helping them out take on their development stuff. Like I said, the partnership side of what we're doing, relatively new. In fact, I just got Pete Rogers, who has been with us for a long time, actually, at least in rapid innovation years, who is moving over to that side of rapid innovation and going to start helping us specifically with partnerships and with more enterprise level clients that want to get into the space, because he has just an extensive knowledge of that space and also a significant knowledge of blockchain. So other achievements, I mean, the thing that it's kind of an achievement, and anyone who's been an entrepreneur for a long time will probably see it as a little bit foolish, and it probably was just the level of growth that we've had in the last 3 years. If you go back a year and a half at Rapid Innovation, we had 45 people that worked on the team. And so in that year and a half, we went from 45 people and we added an additional, 250 people to the team. That was, you could consider that irresponsible growth, although I also look at it as an achievement, because to take a company from 45 people to 300 people over the course of a year and a half is difficult. And to be able to do that and maintain a high level of workmanship when we're building stuff and customer service, and make sure that our clients take care of, that's a difficult narrow path to navigate. And so I see that as one of the achievements. The other thing is just the people that we have brought on board. I have some of what I would consider, the top 100 blockchain people on planet Earth working for me, helping clients build stuff. And to just be to have those people commit to coming and working for a company that I've started is I'm not even sure I have words for it. There's an intense amount of gratitude that I have for the people that have come around me and come on board and decided to help, and an intense amount of loyalty that I get from those people, because there's not a lot of amazing developers. There's not a lot of amazing people in the space. And I've got clients, I've got other people trying to steal my guys all the time, and for the most part, the people that are on board with what we're doing are really on board with our vision, and they're really on board with where we're going as a company. And it's just an honor to have people like that, and I consider that an achievement to have found those people. And yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's one of those things I have a hard time finding words for, because it's amazing to have the team that I have. I mean, so much of what is possible and what we can do for this industry, it has nothing to do with me. I'm probably one of the least important people on the team. it has to do with this amazing team that I'm surrounded with that really want to do this thing and, are on board with where we're going. So yeah, I would say that's probably my most notable achievement are the people that are on board and the people that support where we're going and what we're doing.
All right. So at least you've shared to us about the achievements that you guys have from the beginning until now, especially the partners that you have mentioned. So thank you so much for that, Jesse. All right. So for this next question, aside from the achievements that you've just mentioned, there are challenges as well. Now, Jesse, could you share some of the challenges that you and your team are facing these days and how you guys overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so number one is just growth, man. We have grown so fast that when you grow that fast, what you do is you break your processes, and when you break your processes, it requires a lot of work for the people who are trying to prop up the company and basically manage and take care of clients and make sure that their needs are met and that we're still delivering what we promised. And so I would say that's probably been the biggest challenge that we faced recently. And then in no particular order, beyond that, another one would be that this is a new space. Like there's no one to go look at and model yourself after. Oftentimes when an entrepreneur wants to be successful, they're taking an idea and they're tweaking 20% of that idea. And then they are, they're kind of writing off the baton in a sense as being passed to them, and they're making an improvement in some specific area. But when it comes to blockchain development, or Web3 development, decentralized systems have never really been widely used. There's never really been, a mass user adoption of people that have been using these systems before, and so almost everything that we do and almost everything that our clients are trying to do has not been done before. And so that presents a unique opportunity, but also some pretty unique challenges. And then the other thing is just finding good developers. When I first started, there were none. There was no such thing as a Solidity developer when I got into blockchain. And, from there, I've had to recruit, awesome talent, right? But how do you recruit talent if that talent actually doesn't exist? It's like going and recruiting miners that have experience working on Mars. Like those people don't exist on planet Earth. And so that presented some unique challenges in training and in what recruitment actually looked like and who we brought on board, because how do you recruit for a position inside a talent pool that is non-existent? And so, we've created some really unique training and mentoring stuff inside Rapid Innovation. And I really actually want to extend that and expand it this year, almost to the point of having like a Web3 school where Web2 developers can show up and really learn the Web3 space and get educated from people who do this every day. And an apprenticeship program where you can come on board and you can learn from people on real projects, real clients, under the guide of somebody who really knows what they're doing, who's been in the space for as long as you can be in this space. And so, I think that kind of sums up the biggest challenges.
All right. So at least you've shared to us some of the challenges that you and your team are facing these days and how you guys overcome them. So thank you so much for that, Jesse. Now, let's move on to our next question. Now, this is another interesting one. Now, how do you see rapid innovation in a few years from now?
I mean, very simply, I would like to be the world's best Web3 development company. What that actually means exactly is a little foggy because my crystal ball doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. But like I said earlier, my passion really is to help entrepreneurs in this space bring innovation to the table. I mean, that's what I'm passionate about. And so for me, all of my future goals are very, very in line with that. I want the world to have access to freedom from, third-party inefficiency and autonomy of data, autonomy of finance, autonomy of asset, really own things, have financial freedom, have uh, you know have efficiency in their life. Like that's what I see blockchain bringing to the world in so many different sectors, so many different verticals. And so I would say that all of the goals that Rapid Innovation has are very, very aligned with that. Like, how do I help people bring that to the world? And how do I help as many people as I can bring that to the world? Because for me, like I hear people talk to me about things like, hey, I've got this amazing app idea. And if I bring it to the market, it's going to bring mass adoption. I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. I think what it is you have a group of really, really intelligent entrepreneurs that have a plethora of ideas, and all of those ideas together are what bring this mass adoption that we're going to see in the crypto market. And so I want to find as many of those influencers and as many of those thought leaders and creative minds as I can, and I want to help them succeed, because at the end of the day, me helping them succeed gets me exactly what I want, which is a world where the user experience of humanity is upgraded. And so, yeah, I mean, that I would say is in a very ethereal way, my goals. And I don't know that I want to go into it in much more detail than that, because I think I think it would dilute from what I'm trying to do. And so I think I'll leave it at that. Like, that's really what I'm passionate about and what I hope to see in the next few years is us being able to help more people more effectively, more efficiently.
All right. So what least have you shared to us, Jesse, on how do you see rapid innovation in a few years from now? So let's look forward to it, by the way, Jesse. So thank you so much for that. Now, let's move on to our final question for this podcast. Now, Jesse, could you give us some reasons on why rapid innovation is the go-to source for blockchain app development and consulting? Like, what is it for me and the rest if we're going to use your products and services than the others?
Yeah. So what is my unique value proposition? So let's see. I mean, number one, my job is kind of easy because there's not a lot of people doing what I do. And so I would say number one would be, if you've got a complex idea, or you've got an idea that really requires a robust team of specialists, people that are hard to find, I probably have them working for me. And so you're not going to find more people under one roof that do Web3 development anywhere for just the average entrepreneur who wants to go and create a business idea. So that's number one. Number two would be our processes, because most of my competitors are hacking Web3 development onto their already existing company. And their processes are not tailor fit to what it looks like to take care of someone who's doing development in the Web3 space. Now, I haven't talked to everybody in the world, I haven't actually sat down with all my competitors. So I know there are people out there that probably have a pretty strict focus on Web3, and they've really shifted. I know that exists, but I do know that a lot of the experiences that my clients come in with when they've worked with other developers in the especially other development companies in the Web3 space, have been less than ideal. Now, some of my clients would say the same thing, that their experience working with us have been less than ideal. And so I know that, you can have a bad experience with a good company, but I would say our process really sets us apart from other people, because it was created from the ground up, from nothing, from a blank piece of paper, specifically for the purpose of helping people build in the Web3 space. And there's not a lot of companies that can say that. In fact, I would say there are very few companies that can say that. And then number three would be our efficiency. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've built things for a living that I try to bring to market. And there are a few things that are really, really important in that first process of building something and bringing it to market. But number one, almost always, when you have a good idea and you're pretty sure you've got a product market fit, you've done some research, is to get that idea to market quickly. Because if you can get a product to market quickly, you can test your product market fit. And so inexpensive, fast development is is a difficult thing to do, especially in the blockchain space. I mean, one of the things people don't realize when you're developing, say smart contracts on Ethereum, there's no such thing as having a bug in a smart contract on Ethereum. It can't happen. Your contracts have to be deployed perfectly. Everything has to be 100% perfect because you have immutable code. Like there is no way to go on chain and fix something that you accidentally overlooked. And so to do that process very, very quickly and safely is difficult. And it requires a great deal of thought and care on the processes that allow you to do that. And so inside Rapid Innovation, we've developed systems that allow us to get a lot of MVPs, not all of them, some more extensive feature-rich stuff, it can be more difficult on, but that have allowed us to get a basic MVP built for people in 90 working days. And that is fast. The Web 2 world can't touch us even. The Web 3 world, they can't touch us on that. And so, for us to, and time to market is so critically important. Because if you take 8 months, a year to get a product to market, because and people do that for a plethora of reasons that I won't get into. But one of them can be, just development time, not having efficient processes when you're building things. It can hurt what you're doing a ton. I mean, think about this. The NFT craze, right, has been going on for the last 8 months. If you had built an NFT marketplace on an up and coming chain that catered to these collections that have been launched anytime, say starting 3 months ago, back 6 months before that, you would have experienced some level of success. If you were to launch an NFT marketplace today, you would struggle. And so that time to market 8 months ago really matters. If we had started building an NFT marketplace 8 months ago and we finished it today, you would have something without a product market fit, not because you didn't build the right thing when you had the idea to build it, but because it took too long to build it. If you had launched it 6 months ago, you would have had a chance to compete in the NFT marketplace space, and you could have established yourself. You could have got a user base. You could have started generating some revenue, survived the bear market that we're in right now, reinvented yourself. All the things that you need to do as an entrepreneur. And so I would say that is probably the biggest benefit to working with us over working with someone else, is that our processes are, first of all, designed for Web3, but second of all, designed for bringing products to market and created from the mindset of an entrepreneur who understands that it is vitally important to get products to market quickly. And so the processes are built around that. And anytime a process is introduced introduced or proposed inside Rapid Innovation, one of the litmus tests that I put that through is, does the benefit of having this process in place outweigh the risks of extending the timeline and bringing a product to market late? And if it doesn't, we don't implement it. If it does, then we do. And so keeping that timeline as short as possible is like vitally important. And I would say we're really good at it, better than most people. And I think that's super important for our target market.
All right, so at least we've learned from you, Jesse, on why Rapid Innovation is the go-to source for blockchain app development and consulting. Like, what is it for me and the rest of the clients if we're going to use your products and services and the others, maybe in the near future or so. So thank you so much for that, Jesse. All right, so before we wrap this up, so do you have any parting words for our amazing subscribers and viewers who are tuning into our podcast right now?
I would just say, if you're interested it's amazing how many amazing things I've built for people who are first-time entrepreneurs who have never done things before. They've made some money in crypto. Everyone I talk to says, man, I wish that X was different. Well, the difference between an entrepreneur and someone who isn't is the person who says, I wish that X was different, and then they do something about it. Like they go build something and they make whatever that variable is different. And if you're thinking it, there's probably a lot of other people thinking it. If there's a lot of other people thinking it, you've probably got a target market fit and a product that makes sense. And so, if anybody is interested in exploring one of those ideas or talking to a team of people who really has helped, hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs build products that are successful, go to rapidinnovation.io and get in contact with us. And I mean, it costs nothing to have a conversation except for time. Waste a little bit of Mike's time. Sorry, Mike, if you're watching this, I don't mean to get a ton of people talking to you. They're wasting your time, but like there is opportunity out there. And I've watched a lot of people who have never done this before, never built a company, never built software, with great ideas be very successful. And so, if you're one of those people that are listening to this that has, a great idea, start exploring it, because it'll change your life and maybe the lives of tons and tons of other people. And that is an amazing feeling.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for today's episode. So we have Mr. Jesse Anglen, the CEO of Rapid Innovation. So once again, Jesse, thank you so much for your time here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right, and also I would like to thank all of our subscribers and viewers who are tuning in to our podcast with Jesse, the CEO of Rapid Innovation. So if you want to know more about it, so I provided all of the source links right here on my YouTube description. So just in case that if you have some questions that were not yet covered in this interview, feel free to leave down your comment right here, or you can just simply head over to their official social media channels like Telegram, okay?
Did you enjoy watching this video? If yes, I would like to thank you for this. And if you want to stay updated regarding my latest videos, interviews, and giveaways, just hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And also you could follow me on my official social media channels. Alright, I guess I'll see you guys on my next video.